All right, it's 4 p.m. We're gonna get started. Good afternoon, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go through the roster just to make sure. Um, if you're online, just make sure to unmute yourself and more people joining. Hold on. All right, Nathan,
Here.
Roshan,
Yeah.
Ben, Kirti, Aiden,
Here.
Christian,
Here.
Daniel, Lydia, Peyton,
Here.
Ava, Matthew, Atira,
Here.
Sophie, Neha, Chance, Braxton,
Here.
Neelan, Josh, Yvonne,
Here.
Thomas, Camila,
Here.
Avery, Avery Summers, Nirmai.
Here.
Okay, all right. Let me turn my phone off so that. All right. The next thing is just if you're here face to face, just raise your hands if you've done all the homework so far. Good. If you're online, do a thumbs up if you've done all the homework from the day one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can lie to me though, you sure can, but it doesn't help you. Okay. I want you to be honest with me. How many are missing one assignment? One, okay. How many are missing two assignments? Okay, there's some catching up to do. Um, don't wait too long because it's going to start piling up. Then you will not catch up. Next, how many of you are taking the October ACT? One, two. How many are juniors here? Okay, juniors and seniors all must be taking the October test. So have you guys registered? So let's do this. If you're a junior or senior, raise your hands or do a thumbs up if you're signed up for the October test. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Not yet signed up?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, we have quite a bit of signed up. Okay. Matthew, go ahead and write it down so you don't forget it. I would like you to register right away. Okay. And if you're a junior and seniors, you have to also register for the December test. Okay. I don't care what you guys get in October. You will be taking the December unless you get a perfect score or something crazy like that. So, but that's the plan. Aiden, do you have a question?
No, sorry.
Okay. If you're a 10th grader, you'll be taking the December ACT, so you have a little breathing space. But juniors and seniors, my attention is on you guys, so make sure to get taken care of. Next, I'm actually gonna grab a chair here for a second. Need to talk to you guys. All right. Now, we have completed 3 classes so far. This is the 4th one. I would like to know, so you guys had Lily on the first day, which is more of a general reading thing. Then you guys had me and Aubrey for the math. Then you guys had Aubrey and Rikav for English and math, right? So far, what is your first impression about the class? And I don't want to take too much time and waste it. So if anybody has any comments, concerns, now is the time. I'm going to ask every 4 classes. And got to be honest with me. If something is not going well, just tell me on my face. If something is going great, just tell me as well. Let's not shy away from the good things we do as well. And that's exactly how it's going to happen in college too, by the way. You have to be very honest with the professors you're going to work with. Respect is important. That never changes, good or bad. Any comments? Any thoughts? Yeah?
I thought the last session with the English was really good. I like the examples and everything.
I heard that actually. Sorry I couldn't. This was a planned trip. One of the jobs I have as a college president is I visit other colleges and end up doing audits and stuff like that. Happened to run into your dad actually in the airport twice, while going and while coming back. So it was kind of weird coincidence. But yeah, I heard that actually. A couple more students texted me as well. So that was pretty nice. Thank you. And Rikav got a perfect 36. He's the 5th student at New Horizon to ever get a perfect 36. So, and he's in Creighton. He's traveling from Omaha today. He's a little unwell, but I told him not to miss the class today, so he's here. But yeah, I've taught him since 6th grade myself, so I know him well. I know him well, and we are actually paying his mileage from Omaha. He's a student, right? I don't want him to waste his money. So, but he is very, very good. So we didn't want to lose him. So, thank you. Anything else? I had a comment. I got one comment on math from about Aubrey's class that it was a little bit fast. Was that true, or just one off? Did you guys feel she went fast? What did she cover last time?
There's a lot of like matrix stuff.
Did she finish the arithmetic and geometric series?
I don't think so.
She did.
She did, right? The SN, the AN, right? The arithmetic sequences, summation sequences. Those are some of the tougher problems actually on the higher end. So, and did she complete matrix completely? Is matrix done? Did you guys do the multiplication of matrices? Okay, all right. I'll be testing you guys on all those materials, but today is a pretty important day for you guys. Today will be ACT Science, okay? So the strategies we're gonna discuss, we have been using for since 15 years, and we have not changed it. And I can't stress enough how well our students have done. Just to give an example, in 2023, this year, we have 3 students who have gone up by 9 points in science. 9. One 21 to 30, 25 to 34, and guess what? Take a guess. 27 to a perfect 36. That's pretty damn good, let me tell you that. And these are students with 20s and 20 scores. So not that everybody's going to do that well. That's the intention behind. So today's class, you have to be absolutely be focused and understand the strategies. Sounds good? And definitely ask questions. And these strategies have not changed, and I don't think so it'll change because it has been working. 98% of our students have used our strategies. 2% of students have their own strategies. They're very comfortable and they've done very well, and I'm fine with them. If you have a strategy that's been working for you guys, stick to it, okay? It's not about your method or my method. It's what works for you guys. But what I don't want you to do is to mix these two together and make a horrible cocktail. Sounds good? That's the one thing I want to make it very clear to you guys. As you all know, ACT Science, or you might know, ACT Science, you do not use calculators. So, first you start with English, then you go to math, then you get a 15 minutes break. During that break, put your calculators away. If your calculator is on the desk, you'll automatically disqualified. I've taught around 7,000 students at New Horizon in ACT. 6 of our students have been disqualified. And one actually got a 36 in science. It was a disqualified score. He didn't use it, I know him well. He was from North High. But they saw, the teacher saw it. So, sounds good? Okay. All right, with that, I need 2 things from you guys. The red book and the notebook. Go. Do you have the red book?
No, sir.
Anybody else don't have a red book? I'll see it. Hold on. Let me see if I have an extra copy. But don't write on that one, okay? We have only one left. All right. So let's get started with it. And I don't want you to write anything right now. I'm going to tell you when to write, okay? It has to go here. You have to understand. And ask good questions. Make it fun for me too, okay? Had some extremes classes, like for example, summer 2013, I remember, was one of the boring classes. Nobody asked a damn question, and it was like talking to the wall. Last couple of years back, fall semester, advanced class, one of the best. Beautiful questions, interaction. Didn't feel like we wouldn't spend an hour. It was in a blink of a time, okay? So if you have something, ask away, because one thing will lead to other things. That's where the experience comes into picture. And that can only be addressed when you ask a question which sparks additional information. So ACT Science, so if you're online, can you guys see this clearly? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Sometimes the white light reflections can be tricky. Okay, so reading has 4 passages, right? ACT Science has 6 passages, but at the same time. So the first thing here is ACT Science is 35 minutes, just like ACT Reading, 40 questions, just like ACT Reading, 52.5 seconds per question. And this is the last section. It's gonna zip by in a heartbeat. If you're not focused, it's gone. So you have to completely be focused, and we'll talk about it today. Used to be 7 passages, now it is 6 passages. 6 passages. Around 2018, they changed it from 7 to 6. So the impact is these passages are long and have more questions per passage. In 7 passages, it used to be smaller reading material and lesser number of questions. I prefer 7 if I get a choice, okay? All right, so in reading, you know what you're entering into. Prose fiction, natural science, humanities, right? Social science. You know what you're gonna get into. Not in science. You have no clue what the passage is all about. So, here's a little mathematical way to explain how ACT Science and math varies. So I'm going to draw a graph here for you guys. So this is ACT math from question number 1 to question number 60. This is the difficulty level on the y-axis. I can linearize a math difficulty by something like a best fit line like this. Okay? Pretty easy actually. First 20, kind of easy. Next 20, kind of medium difficult. Then the last 20 are difficult. I can linearize it. So if I'm preparing, that's what I'm going to do. Okay? I'm going to start with the question number 1, and when I end with question number 60, that's where our test ends. Pretty easy. Science is different. Science is different for multiple reasons. First, you actually do not even know what is it about. So this is science passages 1 to 6. So in first test, in a test, you may have a very easy passage 1, difficult next, and so forth. Just like math, okay? You may have a scenario where it's gonna be like this. Very rarely you'll see this. What you usually see is this. Passage 1 being very difficult, to passage 2 being very easy, to medium 3, to very difficult 4, very easy 5, and medium 6. One combination. Or easy passage 1, very easy passage, difficult 2, 3 is difficult, 4 is easy, 5 is easy, 6 is easy. All over the place. So your job is to, in a very short amount of time, identify this. How many of you have you taken ACT before, the real test before, so far? 1, 2, some, okay? So Matthew, when you took the science test, if you remember, by the way, did you start with passage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yes, I would here.
How about you, Jay?
I started the same way.
That's the default people do, right? That's the default, right? Why did you start with 1 though? How do you convince me that the passage 1 is the best passage to start with when you have very limited time? If you had 45 minutes, yeah, doesn't matter the time. This matters. Let me give an example of October 2019 and October 2013, coincidentally both October tests. Let's start with October 2013, 7 passages we had at the time. A lot of my students know our strategies. They remember, we practice. But for some reason, a couple of my students, really good students, forgot. Anxiety, panic, tension, stress, whatever you call. What they did was they did what Matthew did, or what Chance did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so forth. The way they had arranged the difficulty level for those 7 was, I still remember by the way, 4 was the easiest. 5 was the next. 6 was the next. 7, and then it was 1, 3, 2. Okay? So the students who did 1, 2, 3 in that order, they were stuck with extremely difficult passages, so much so that they couldn't even get to the easiest passage of 7. Many students just left it blank or filled it, Another North High student actually, her name is Becca, I still remember. She's doing really well now. She ended up getting a 24 in ACT Science when her average was 32. Because she panicked, because she was running out of time, all those reasons. The students who did our strategies, which you're going to learn today, it were all in 30s. Why? Because they took care of the easy passages first, and their confidence was high. They had the momentum that drove towards success, and they didn't have to panic. Because when they got to the difficult ones, they had time. So let me ask you a simple question, which I think I know the answer very well. if you had a chance to guess something on a question, do you want to guess on a easy question or a difficult question? What does your common sense say? Simple one, guys. I would rather guess on a difficult one, right? You don't want to guess on an easy one because you already know it. So when you are in that situation at the October 2013 situation where they missed on the easy ones, they had to work on the hard ones first and they had to guess on the easy ones. Almost same thing happened in October 2019. It was actually almost a reverse order where passage 6 was the easiest. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1 was the most hardest one about the genomics and biotechnology passage. The people who did it got so stuck on it that they wasted on an average 13 minutes out of 35 minutes on passage 1. So what happens? I start panicking. All the strategies we're going to talk today is to avoid panic and to manage time. You cannot be successful with these strategies if you don't practice. Okay? So there are some keywords for you guys to remember today. For students who have done well in ACT Science. 2 words. Focus and practice. You have to have done a lot of full test practice. When I say full test, it's not just the science portion, but entire English, math, reading, science portions, so that you feel the pinch when you get to science, when you're hungry, when you're tired, right? You want to get the hell out of that place. How does it feel at the time to focus for the next 35 minutes? You don't do practice, you'll be in for a surprise. You can be very smart. I have a Hillen student. I've worked with her for a long time. Look at her first test scores. Of course, I do understand she was pretty young, in 8th grade when she took the ACT test. But look at her scores. English 36, math 34, reading 35, science 24. What she told me? Manoj, I just gave up. I just couldn't focus. I was so tired because I didn't know how it feels to take the full test. Make sense? So, focus and practice are pretty key. This is not a science test. This is a science. Can somebody guess what the R stands for? Tough one. Let's see.
Reading.
It's not a science test. It's a science. Take a guess. It's okay. What happens if it's wrong? No big deal.
Reasoning.
Science reasoning test. Somebody tell me the difference between a science test and a science reasoning test. What's the difference? At school, when you take a chemistry, biology, physics test, is it a science test or a science reasoning test? At schools.
Science test.
It's a science test, right? They teach you, let's say you're doing chemistry, they teach you stoichiometry, and the test is about stoichiometry. Am I right? That's how it works. Not in ACT Science. It's about the reasoning. They will give you the information you need to know, and you have to comprehend that information and analyze the data to answer those questions. So, what does it mean? The prior knowledge is not needed. Actually, years back, maybe 6-7 years back, she was not my student. She's from Omaha, not my student. She took a ACT test in 7th grade. There are many reasons takes in 7th grade. And she got a 36 in science. Does it mean that she knew chemistry and biology? No. She was able to comprehend the material that was given to her. She was able to analyze the data that was given to her. Sounds good? Two different sets of, so you don't need prior information. Nowadays, there's a shift towards a little prior knowledge. I remember working on a passage a few months back where they expected people to know photosynthesis. Well, I expect people to know photosynthesis, especially if you're a past 7th grade, right? But they also expected you to know one more thing related to photosynthesis. What's a pigment that is used in photosynthesis?
Cellulose?
The chlorophyll, right? They expected chlorophyll. It's a green pigment that makes the leaves green, right? You guys know all those basic stuff. That I thought was a little stretch, people to know chlorophyll. Well, it would be nice people to know that, but yeah, things of that nature happened. But historically, 1, maybe 2 per test, you might need prior knowledge. Okay? If you get there was one on mitosis and meiosis, and they had the phase division information. That anaphase and all those phases of the meiosis and mitosis, that was too hard. And ACT ended up throwing that question out. But if you had got that question right, even though it was thrown out, you get additional fudge points, like a pat on the back. Hey, you did the correct. You get a little point called equating process. And equating process is done when, and it's for easy questions and for the hard questions, and it's for the entire ACT, English, math, reading, and science. Okay? When you get a question correct on a most difficult or difficult questions, you get positive fudge factor. And if you screw up on an easy one, they're gonna take some points that are called negative fudge factor. Sounds good? So that's how it works. It's called equating. It happens on ACT and SAT. All right. Now, shifting our gears towards what need strategies. So you know the basics of science, and you know that every time you start a science test, the difficulty can vary significantly. What should you do is the question. And this is where our strategies come into picture. And listen carefully. So, in approximately 45 seconds, scan all 6 passages. The goal is to select only 2 passages using the following criteria. You have to have more graphs. Excuse me. More pictures. If you have more graphs, more pictures, that's a better passage to pick. Less tables. If you have less tables, you prefer those. Tables can be very, very tricky in ACT. So you want to be very watchful on that one. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about tables. Less reading. So more you have to read, it's not good for you guys because it's going to be time consuming. You don't have time. And conflicting viewpoints, also called as discussion passages, should be done last. Sounds good? So, when you get to the science test, you physically flip the pages, okay? You don't have time to read the questions, you don't know what the passage is about, but within a very short amount of time, you scan for this information. More graphs, good. More pictures, good. Less tables, good. Now, Eventually you'll come across tables, eventually you'll come across reading passages. At that time, for tables, there are different types of tables you're going to come across. First one is size of the tables. So there are large tables, there are small tables, literally size-wise. You prefer small tables. 2 small tables is better than 1 large table. Sounds good? Next. Then another type of tables. Data table or word or phrase table. You want to prefer data table. So tables are not preferred, but if you eventually have to prefer, you have to, by the way, you start with passages that has data and small tables. Sounds good? So again, when you're physically flipping the pages, you're looking for these things. A conflicting viewpoint or the discussion passage has no graphs, no pictures, no tables, nothing. Sounds good? They resemble a natural science reading passage of the ACT reading, which is the most time consuming, can be very tricky, and you want to do last. Because that is the one that drains your energy, the time, the confidence. Sounds good? Now, I'm going to open this to discussion. Any questions, thoughts? Remember, after this, you only select the first 2. Only 2. Okay? Then, we do the questions of those 2 passages and repeat the same procedure to select the next 2 passages. Of course, at the time, you'll take less than 45 seconds, maybe around 25 seconds. When you select the passages, if you select 1 and 6, and somebody else selects 6 and 1, that matters. Because you do not want to start with a difficult passage. You want to start with the easiest passage possible. That's why when you play play like U.S. Open in tennis, for example, the top seeded tennis player for the tournament plays the worst seeded for the first time. Why? Because he doesn't want to play the best, second best right away. They are always in the opposite seeding, basically. And then in the finals they merge. Because if you play with the best player immediately, you might end up losing it. Same strategy here. I spent a lot of time over the years to see if I've changed something. It has been the small changes. Majority has remained the same, especially this strategy. Any questions? Remember, once you start asking questions, it triggers experience, ideas I can share with you guys, but that has to be initiated by you guys. Okay. Yeah, Charles.
So when you're looking at the tables and when you're looking at data, are you looking for more of like numerical values?
Numerical, when I say data, it's numerical. And size really matters. I can tell you right now. I remember it was, there's a passage in the red book you're going to come across pretty soon. This is what, the passage has only 1 line reading, okay? And they have 2 big tables. Everybody is like, oh my God, there's hardly any reading. You have told us less reading. Well, there was reading inside the table, which is a convoluted way of giving the information, and they were stuck. Sounds good? So it's an overall impression of the passage that matters. So there is an element of common sense that goes into this. Make sense? Anything else? Yeah?
Is that the order of like elimination?
Okay. I was hoping somebody would ask that question. Is this the order of elimination? No. It is the combination of these, and net resultant of this you have to use. So, I was hoping somebody would ask. See, this is what I'm talking about. If you think carefully, you will have good questions. And I was hoping somebody would ask, is the elimination based on this order? No, elimination is based on the combination of these. Good question, Avery. Excellent question, actually. This is maybe the 10th time people have asked me. Usually people just write it down blindly. Oh, it's great. And then they get to the question passage. They're like, okay, now what? Should I go with this? This is what Manoj wrote, so I'm going to go with this. No, you have to have the whole impression, what do you call the holistic approach to this. And a little bit of common sense really helps. Point. Anything else? What we have done so far, we've just talked about selection of the passages. We've not even got into the questions. But you screw up on this, you'll have one hell of a ride, let me tell you this. And this is what the mistake people do.
What's the word in the parentheses? I can't read it. In the last point, the conflicting view.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Discussion. It's also called a discussion type.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Online students have any questions? All right. Now, first of all, go ahead and write this down. When you're writing, see if it makes sense to you, okay? Just don't blindly write things. Understand. Any questions, comments? Do you need more time to write this? All right. Open page 80 of the red book. I don't want you to do anything, just open page 80. All right. This is your first experience of going through this one. What I want you guys to do in 45 seconds, I'm going to give you actually more time. I'm going to give you actually 90 seconds, double the time, just to get the feel. Reviewing all these criteria, what we discussed, questions, holistic approach, and all those things. You have to select only the two. The first two you would start with, okay? And remember, if you go with 1 and 2, is not the same as 2 and 1. So be very particular about the order, okay? That's why I'm giving you more time. Your time starts now, 90 seconds. Don't write anything. Don't read the questions. Take your time. You have time this time. Only the two. You have to select only the first two passages you would do. All right. Time's up. Okay, now let's talk. I would like somebody to volunteer what they have selected. Online, face-to-face, doesn't matter. Yeah, Chance, go.
I'd say I'd start with passage 3 and then passage 1.
Okay, 3 and 1. 3. Anybody has 3 and 1? 1, 2. We have, anybody else has 3 and 1? Wow. 1, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Any other combinations? Thomas?
I had 3 and 5.
3 and 5. 3. All right, now let's have you both fight this, okay? 3 both selected. I would select 3 too, by the way. How many had the first passage selected was 3? Raise your hands or do the thumbs up. First one has to be 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We are off to a good start. Usually it doesn't happen that way, okay? Okay. You convince me why 1, you convince me why 5. Go.
I said number 1 because, first of all, I scanned through the questions a little bit.
You can't scan the questions. No, you won't have time. How do you know what the questions are about? You can't. You convince me now.
I feel like passage 1 has just a lot more numbers to it and it's easier to comprehend than passage 5, which has like a diagram.
Passage 5 has a picture, a graph, like a bar graph and a data table. Passage 5 has a little bit more reading or more reading than passage 1, but passage 1 has little reading but 2 big tables, right? Which are data tables, which is better. How many had 3 and 5 combinations? 1, 2, 3. Anybody online? 3, 5? 4, 5. remember in the real test you have nobody else to compare with. And by the end of the semester, we would have practiced so many times that I expect 4 in 5 students to select the first 3 correctly. 80%. You with me on this? And that's how well you'll be. This is just starting today. Any other combinations? 3, 1, 3, 5 so far. Anybody else has any different thoughts? You guys have to speak up. This is where you learn when you, I don't want to say fail, when you may not have the best combinations. Otherwise you'll keep making the same errors. Any other combinations people had? Remember, at the end of the day, you are the ones who are taking the test, not me. I can only try. So if you don't want to participate, it's on you. There's not much I can do. So. All right. Now, let's kind of finalize just as we work as a group here. For me, honestly, if you had given me a choice, I would have gone with 3 and 5. Okay? But looks like there was a consensus of 3-1 quite significantly than 3-5. So let's write down on the page 80 all the way at the top, 3-1. On page 80 at the top, write 3-1 so that we follow. In the real test, trust me, you have nobody else to compare with. Yeah, it's hard for me to, it's kind of tough to prove for me why 5, but I can tell you what my reasoning would be. Graphs, pictures are really helpful. Yes, there's a little bit more reading. I do agree at the time. That's why 3-1, 3-5 is not too much of a difference, by the way. Okay? Not too much. But just to be consistent, we go 3-1. Now, I'm going to give you guys 40 seconds to select the next 2 you would select. Only the next 2. Go. 40 seconds. You already have selected 2, 3 and 1. Don't select that again. Time's up. Okay, now somebody else tell me after 3-1 what they have selected. People have to participate. Yeah.
I did 5-2.
How many have 5-2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Wow, looks like pretty convincing. Yeah, pretty easy actually. Does anybody have any other combinations? I want to think how you think. I want to know how you think. So it's okay to be telling me examples of what you did. So yeah, tell me.
I put 5-4 because I thought it'd be easy to read through. And I did
5-4.
differences.
4 should be done last. So write down on page 80 again. So we did 3-1, 5-2. 3-1, 5-2. That's good so far? All right. I'm gonna give you guys 20 seconds to decide the next 2 in what order. Your time starts now. So you're left with 2. Time is gonna zip by if you're not focused in the ACT science. Let me tell you that. It's a fair warning. Time's up. Tell me the order.
6-4.
6-4? Okay. So write on. So 315264 would be the what we call the science code here. Unlike ACT reading, science code will change. ACT reading will not change because ACT reading has a fixed order of passages. You with me on this? Prose fictions, social science, humanities, and natural science. For me, it was natural science, social science, humanities. So 4, 2, 3, 1 is the order. Till today, I remember it. That's how I practiced. That's what I did. There was no element of surprises in the real test. I have something to tell you guys, and remember this for a long time. And you can apply to anything. Sports, studies, doesn't matter, especially sports actually. If your practice is not as competitive, if not more, or as hard, if not more hard, than the real game is gonna be, or the real test is gonna be, then you're gonna suffer. Practice is where you have to excel in the real test. Practice should not be a farce. Practice should not be a status quo. You with me on this? I practice as though my life was dependent on it. Till today. I do whatever I do. If it's a, like for example, yesterday was a pretty big, Friday was a pretty big day at the college. We celebrated 25 years. I was writing speech for like 2 months, trying to finagle the speech. It's a 3-4 page speech. I practiced and practiced and practiced. So when I gave the speech on Friday, I didn't have any surprises. Sounds good? You practice so much that the real thing becomes a formality. Never forget this. Never forget this. On page 80, there is something called directions. Read the directions. And you have to pick one word that you think is the most important in that paragraph. Go, read. You can underline it, highlight it, whatever you want. In the directions. Somebody tell me what word did they pick? Yeah, Ava?
I put best answer because I feel like sometimes I try to apply things that I know or like other things, so I just need to focus on what I have in front of me.
So we picked best. How many picked the word best as their best choice? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually is a very important thing. In ACT math, for example, if they ask you what's 2 plus 2 is a 4 is the correct answer, right? What's the best answer? Out of the 4, which best fits the best possible, right? So in, like for example, if I ask you, what's the color of this polo? You can say blue, dark blue, light blue, right? What's the best to pick? So in ACT science, you're looking at the best answer, not the correct answer. Now the next question is best answer according to whom? According to each one will might have a different best answers, right? Is the one who wrote the passage. So you have to think like an author, but this is where it gets tricky for students. Okay? Look for the best answer. Don't look for the correct answer. Many times you won't see it. Moving on. Open page number 300. Oops. Come on. 374. 374. All right, let's get real serious now. Okay? We are gonna do what you will do in the real test. Okay? So I'm the supervisors. I'm gonna say, hey guys, your time starts now. You need to know what exactly you're doing. And I'm gonna give exactly 45 seconds. And I can tell you right now, by the end of the semester, you will be doing this maybe around 30 seconds or 25 seconds. Or some of our best students have done it in 20 seconds actually, because they have been practicing that. Same thing, first two passages, 45 seconds, go. Now, gotta be very serious. Time's up. 45 seconds. Let me have somebody from online take a shot what they selected. Go.
Six, three, two, four.
No. Only the two, the first two.
Oh.
Do not.
Six,
Okay.
two.
No, I'm okay with this. I'm okay if you people make a mistake, because that's a learning moment right there. I'll tell you why. Again, nobody should have asked me why I only select the first two, and I'll tell you I have a reason now. See what happens. Let's say he selects 6 and 3, okay? And when you start getting to the questions, and let's say you turn out it's a very difficult questions, then you skip the entire passage and move on to other passage at the time. Sounds good? If you have selected the remaining, then your entire order changes. That's why you go 2 at a time. So 6, 3. All right. 6. How many have 6, 3? Any other combinations, online students?
I chose 1 and 3.
1 and 3. How many have 1 and 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Any other combinations?
I did 1 and 6.
1 and what?
6. Yeah, I had 1 and 6 too.
1 and 6. Remember, I'm not comfortable with 6 at all. The tables are, they're nice and cute, you know, they screw you later, so try avoiding 6. How many are 1 and 6? We'll take it, vote. Okay, any other combinations? You guys need to speak up. I don't want to waste time. Any other combinations? How about here? Yeah,
I said 1 and 4.
1 and 4. Did we do 1 and 4? 1 and 4. Okay, how many do you have 1 and 4? That's what I had. I had 1 and 4. I just love linear graphs, and 1 and 3 is not bad at all. So how many have 1 and 4? Me and Chance are the only ones. Okay. How many have 1 and 3? Let's do a countdown here. 1, 2, 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Not convincing. No, last time was pretty convincing. What did you have, Matthew?
6 and 1.
How many are 6 and 1? Okay. We'll go with the majority here, okay? Let's write down 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Remember, in the real test, there's nobody else to compare with. You just go with what you have. This is what we are trying to do, some drills. This is the drills, right? So that you guys know what to do. Now, I'm going to give you guys 25 seconds to select the next two. Go. So we already selected 1, 3 in that order. Time's up. Let's go. 1, 3, next. What? Yeah. Okay.
I had 4 and 2.
4 and 2. How many have 4 and 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I have 2 and 4.
Let's see. I
I
still am
had
pretty
2 and
particular about that actually. I would go 4, 2. I would go 4, 2. So 4, 2 or 2, 4. Let's see how many we have. So 5 here. Anybody online? 4, 2 or 4, 5. 4, 2 or 2, 4. Okay. I still am gonna be very particular about this. Okay. You may get a little irritated with this. I'm okay with that. I want you guys to be good, okay? That's how important it is, especially the first 3. Things will change in the last 3 a little bit more. The probabilities are not that great for that one. You'll have 15 seconds for the last 2. Go. 3, 1, 4, 2. Time's up. Okay. Yeah, tell me. 6. 6 and
5.
how many have 6, 5? How many have 5, 6? Anybody have 5, 6? I would go with 6, 5. Okay. Remember, tables are a little bit better than the reading itself. Okay. So what's the, write down the order on the page number here. 3, 7, 4. What is that? 3, 1, 4, 2.
1, 3, 4, 2, 6.
Oh, sorry. 1, 3. Sorry. 1, 3, 4, 2, 6, 5. You got to be desperate to get this order correct. Sometimes it will still happen. Everybody is different. Everybody's perception is different. Trust me, I understand. What I will not understand is when you're not serious. When you're not serious about this, the laissez-faire attitude is going to kill you in science. You with me on this? Turns out, if it's an easy test, the ordering may not have a bigger impact. If the test E is difficult with one passage in the middle or in the first, then it can change the entire score. And remember, it doesn't take much to slip in science reading, especially science, because of the fact that it's that last one and you're least focused on it. Sounds good? So be very serious about that one. I'll see you guys next week. Stay here, all 9 students. Recovery is going to join in a few minutes. Maybe take a 5. Okay? Bye.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.